Once upon a time, in a small Italian village, there was an old woodcarver named Geppetto. Geppetto lived alone and longed for companionship, so one day he decided to carve a puppet from a piece of wood. With care and precision, he sculpted the figure of a boy, giving him features as lifelike as possible. When he finished, he named his wooden creation Pinocchio. As Geppetto marveled at his work, something extraordinary happened. A kind and magical blue fairy appeared, having seen the lonely old man's love for his creation. She waved her wand, bringing Pinocchio to life, although he remained a wooden puppet. The fairy told Pinocchio that if he wished to become a real boy, he had to prove himself brave, truthful, and unselfish. She promised that if he succeeded, he would be transformed into a human. Geppetto was overjoyed to see his puppet come to life, treating Pinocchio like his son. The next morning, Geppetto decided to send Pinocchio to school, believing that education was the first step toward Pinocchio's journey to becoming a real boy. He gave Pinocchio his last coins to buy school supplies. On his way to school, Pinocchio's attention was quickly diverted. A cunning fox named Honest John and a crafty cat named Gideon approached him. They convinced Pinocchio that school was a waste of time and that he should instead join the world of theater to become rich and famous. Without a second thought, Pinocchio followed them to the theater, where he met the cruel puppet master Stromboli. Stromboli forced Pinocchio to perform in his puppet shows, using Pinocchio's ability to move without strings as a spectacle to attract crowds. Though Pinocchio enjoyed the applause and attention, he soon realized that Stromboli had no intention of letting him go. He was imprisoned in a cage and treated like a slave. Just when things seemed hopeless, the blue fairy appeared again. She asked Pinocchio why he hadn't gone to school. Ashamed, Pinocchio lied, claiming he had been kidnapped. As soon as the lie left his mouth, his nose began to grow. The more he lied, the longer his nose became, until it was comically long. Realizing his mistake, Pinocchio apologized, and the blue fairy, seeing his repentance, set him free. She reminded him that being truthful and good-hearted was the only way to become a real boy. Pinocchio tried to return home, but he was once again misled by honest John and Gideon, who convinced him that there was a magical place called the Land of Play, or Pleasure Island in some versions, where boys could have endless fun without working or studying. They described it as a paradise where children were free to do whatever they pleased. Tempted by this promise of freedom, Pinocchio went along with them. When he arrived at the Land of Play, Pinocchio and the other boys engaged in all kinds of reckless behavior, playing, smoking, drinking, and causing mischief. At first, Pinocchio thought it was the best place in the world, but soon, he noticed a terrifying change. The boys, including his friend Lampwick, began to transform into donkeys as a punishment for their laziness and bad behavior. Pinocchio, too, began to sprout donkey ears and a tail. He quickly realized the gravity of his actions and tried to escape before the transformation was complete. With the help of the Blue Fairy, who sent her dove to guide him, Pinocchio managed to flee the island, though his ears and tail remained as a reminder of his mistakes. Upon returning home, Pinocchio discovered that Geppetto had gone in search of him and had been swallowed by a giant whale named Monstro. Feeling immense guilt and realizing the depth of Geppetto's love, Pinocchio resolved to rescue his father. With courage and determination, Pinocchio dove into the ocean and found himself swallowed by Monstro as well. Inside the whale's belly, he found Geppetto, weak and despondent. Together, they devised a plan to escape by setting a fire inside the whale to create enough smoke to make Monstro sneeze them out. Their plan worked, and they were expelled from the whale's belly and into the sea. However, their troubles didn't end there. Monstro, enraged, chased them through the water. Pinocchio bravely helped Geppetto to safety, but in doing so, he was injured and appeared to drown in the process. Geppetto, heartbroken, carried Pinocchio's lifeless wooden body home. He wept over the loss of his beloved son, but as he did, the Blue Fairy appeared once again. She declared that Pinocchio had proven himself to be brave, truthful, and unselfish, the qualities necessary to become a real boy. With a wave of her wand, she transformed Pinocchio from a wooden puppet into a living, breathing human boy. Geppetto's joy knew no bounds as he embraced his real son. Pinocchio, now a human, had learned the value of honesty, hard work, and love. He vowed never to stray from the right path again, and together with Geppetto, they lived happily ever after.